All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. I'm here with UFC fighter. He's 9-0. His nickname is Bam Bam, also known as Tui, but his real name is Tuivasa. What's going on, brother?
It's doing, Buzz. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, let's just get straight to the glorious flying knee from a heavyweight in your debut. How do you process that, as in, that's what dreams are made of, you know? Like, if you were a kid fighting and you'd be like, man, make my debut and just knock someone out, you wouldn't have even imagined that you would flying knee someone out.
Nah, neither did I. But, yeah, like I said before, I said, I'll have a crack and see if it works. And yeah, it pulled off, so I was cheering.
So after it happened, immediately after it happened, what was the feeling? Were you shocked, or were you just like, fuck, sweet, like mad?
Yeah, I was just like, mad, it's over. Get it over and done. I think it's like that when you fight, like, you have the fight and then you just want to get out of there as quick as you can. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah, because like
plan,
you have like this massive camp where you've just been absolutely annihilated, and if you can finish the fight without any damage and just done, it's such a good thing. Whereas like footy is a little bit different, where there's 80 minutes and you have to go through those 80 minutes, whereas you don't have to go through the 25 minutes or the 15.
Oh, I try not to. I try to get in there as quick as I can and then get to the pub after. So that's what I think of, when I'm fighting.
Get to the pub and have a bloke in a bar after?
That's it. That's the one.
So, you know, UFC debut, take us all the way back. You know, you did play rugby league. You grew up in Western Sydney, you were saying, but your heritage is Indigenous, and your mother is Indigenous?
My mother, yeah, Aboriginal, and my father's Samoan.
Samoan, okay, but they have ties in Auckland. As in, your father has family in Auckland?
Used to. They all moved over here now, so
yep.
so everyone lives in Australia now.
Okay.
They found the bright side.
Mate,
and
100%.
Yeah, so yeah, I've done a bit of time in New Zealand, so.
So when you grew up in Western Sydney, how often did you fly back? Did you live in New Zealand for a few years?
No. I was born and raised here, and I just went back to see family and for funerals and stuff like that. So coming from a big family, you know, always, it wasn't too often. We were over there a bit, so.
Yep. And so growing up in Western Sydney, what's a young lad like you, you know, I guess the cliche would be that you used to get in fights all the time, and you just enjoyed it, and you played a bit of footy. What was it? Was it like that? Was it the cliche thing?
I don't know. It sounds about it sounds about true. You know, that's how it is out there. And like I say, it's just you can either choose, you know, one or the other. And I got to a certain point where I had to choose, you know, one or the other, and I picked this, and now I'm running with it. So
100%. So when you were growing up, what was it like for you? Was it hard? As in, you know, did you struggle financially, or was you just another kid that your parents worked really hard, gave you every opportunity they could, or what was it like?
Oh, yeah. It was a bit of a struggle, you know, but grew up had a lot of people, a lot of family, lived in my household, especially at my dad's. You know, it's a typical Samoan family. You don't just have your brothers and sisters, you got uncles, aunties, cousins, and whatever else. So, yeah, it was a bit tough, you know, but it is what you make of it, and I suppose. And yeah, lucky I just had footy to keep me, you know, a bit
on the straight and
narrow a little bit there. But
what was the maximum people in your house at one point? Like, what's the most family that ever stayed in your home?
I think there was at one time. I think there was 23.
23. How big was your house? How many bedroom house?
No, it's only 4-bedroom house.
So there was. So as in,
I got 11. I got 11 brothers and sisters.
Holy shit! So 23 people were living in your house at one point.
Yeah, my uncle, my auntie, their kids, and then my brothers and his kids.
That's great. How old were you?
I was in high school.
So torturous years ever, because you're at high school, you're trying to find yourself, you're full of testosterone and you're moody and everything.
I had to share a room with my sister. So.
With your sister?
Yeah.
I shared with my brother, but with your sister, that's tough.
No, my brothers wouldn't have me.
Oh, really?
They were older, so you just sleep wherever you got to sleep.
That's great. So walk us through something that most people wouldn't know is a unique thing about living with 23 people, or was it just like that's the way it is, that's just life?
That's coming from an islander, and even my Aboriginal side, you know, they're just so family orientated, and you know, so living with 10, 15 people could be just a normal thing for people, So yeah, struggle is real.
Far out. The struggle is most definitely real. 20. What about the shower? Like, who's getting the shower?
Yeah, you just wait.
Shower starts at 5, and the last shower would be at like 10 at night.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's no bedtime either, so.
Far out. That's crazy. 23 people. And was there any ever, like the families, do you still stay are you really close from that period of time that you was all together?
Yeah, it's a normal thing. It just becomes
that's
everyday life, I suppose.
23 people in a 4-bedroom house.
If you miss the feed, you miss the feed.
Oh, really? Far out. What about like leaving your stuff in the fridge? Did it always get snagged?
Oh, yeah.
Just don't do that.
You had to hide it. No, like seriously.
Where was your hiding spot?
Oh, I just ate out before you come home. You gotta eat. Or you just pull over. After school or something, we used to just sit up at the shops and eat our feeds up at the shops.
So that no one would take it.
Try and get full before you get home.
Was there any scraps over food?
Oh no, never.
Oh really? So it was pretty.
But Islander families as well. You're not just cooking for, typical.
Yep.
3 or 4 people.
You're just doing a massive cook.
And you got a big saucepan of rice there to feed 30 people. So
I swear it used to get close scraps between me and my brother if there was ice cream in the thing that I'd left, and there was only a little bit left. And then
you weren't getting no ice cream.
Oh my god, killing me!
If you weren't there when it was brought, you're not getting no ice cream.
Or if you like tried to save a bit of your pizza,
no. Cereal was dinner. Like if you got a good cereal, that it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. People were eating it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it was genuinely, you were rich in family and love, but financially it was rough.
No, it was pretty rough. Yeah, but like I said, it's what you make of it.
Far out, that's crazy. So, you as growing up, your father was a boxer?
Yeah, he did a bit of boxing, yeah.
And so, when was your first introduction into a boxing ring or, actual training?
Yeah, young. I remember throwing the boxing gloves as little as I was.
Yep.
3, 4.
Far out.
Plus, I was the youngest, so...
You had to learn to
punching bag for a bit.
Yeah.
So had to either get good with the hands or get a hiding spot.
So the father, do you have some memories, with your father teaching you to box? Is that like a cherished kind of memory for you?
Yeah, it was good, It was always just something, that was pretty much instilled into all of us, and I would think coming from the village we're from in Samoa too, one didn't realise until you go back there, and you realise, geez,
you really
we're
have to
all
protect
raised
yourself.
we're all raised similar, So it was good. Yeah, we were taught to protect ourselves, and either if you don't, you're gonna get picked on, especially where we're from. So
what's crazy is I grew up, I didn't know how to throw a punch until I was like 22, 23 years old.
Oh yeah, no. I like I said, when you're growing up in a house like that many people,
you just got to learn.
You got to know how. Plus, I had a lot of cousins and stuff around my age. So we punched on every day.
Far, it's just like it's crazy how we can live in the same country and live completely different lives.
No, that's just like me now. I come into the city, and I see how life is in here, and some people say that this is how they, but I'd rather be where I'm from out west.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable, and it's just...
It's crazy. No, this is a different kind of example, but, when I was creating my bar on Broadbeach, I had a lot of people telling me, like, make it mad and classy and, like, all this kind of stuff. And that's like as you said, it's like the dream in a lot of people's head is to make it this really premium, ideal thing. But in my head, I was like, no, blokes aren't comfortable in that. Blokes are comfortable in an environment where they can relax, chill out.
No, for sure.
And it's funny how you say that you go into the city and that's the ideal thing that society tells us that we want. And yet you go to Western Sydney and be like, this is home. This is where I love being.
For sure. It's just like a gym.
Yeah.
I like gyms that are old.
And rough.
Yeah. It makes it feel... like
real
a gym,
yeah, it's true. Not the clean kind of all nice and everything like that. It's funny.
You feel like sweating on the floor.
100%.
But no, that's just me now.
Yeah,
I think I've always been like that.
So when did you realise that you were athletically gifted? Because obviously you're part of the Roosters squad, and you had boxing gloves on from a young age. Was it early fights with other kids where you realised I'm actually stronger than most kids my age on an average, or was it later on that you realised that?
No, early on.
Yeah.
I was a light skin. I was pretty white when I was a baby.
Yeah.
So, and I grew up in a dark family. So, I knew I had to grow up quick and fend for myself, or I was just gonna get just rolled over.
Yeah.
So I figured that out pretty quick. But sport, yeah, I've always just, and of course, we didn't have no PlayStations or
Oh, really? Okay.
or none of that, so we couldn't we weren't spending no time inside. We were either just playing footy or doing stuff like that. So I always loved being outside and playing sports.
It's really interesting to hear, you say that you're light skinned in a dark skinned family, and that's a whole. We were talking about your Half-Caste podcast.
Yeah.
It's at Half-Caste podcast.
The Half-Caste podcast.
And that's a part of your culture that us as just your typical Aussie or whatever, even though you're Aussie as well, but Western Aussie wouldn't see. Is that something like what? Explain that to people that may not understand what you mean by you were the light skin of a dark skin kind of thing.
So I've got a different mum to my first half of my brothers and sisters.
Yep.
And they're full Samoan, and then my mum's obviously Aboriginal.
Yep.
And she's a light skin Aboriginal. And yeah, I couldn't help the tone of my skin colour. You know what I mean? So, and just being different.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's just
different.
just the same as if you were to go hang out, around then. You're going to obviously, like you said, when you went to South Auckland,
Felt very
different. You're different.
Yep.
And that's all I was. I was different. So I was either, obviously not to my family, but to other, to other people, I was different. So, and obviously when you're different, you get,
you got it's like a target.
You got a target on you. So but I wasn't different. I could speak fluent Samoan until I was like 4, 5, 6.
All right, it's so interesting to see, and you're right. It's not really about the light skin necessarily. It's the difference.
Yeah. It's just the look of me. It was just. So I had like people. They'll try and speak Samoan behind my back, and then I'd turn around and
be like,
and they get the shock. And it's just like, but that's.
It's part of life kind of things.
Now it's a trend now. Everyone's having Aboriginal kids.
yeah, 100% for that nice tan skin. It's so interesting. It's a part of it. Like there's all these like little parts of cultures that you learn as you grow, kind of thing. And I just find it interesting to see. Everyone deals with certain things that you think they wouldn't be dealing with. Like for example, you wouldn't think that a Samoan kid would be dealing with issues from his own Samoan.
I had it both. So I'd also cop it from my Aboriginal side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd go, my Samoan side, he's Aboriginal, and then I'd cop it on this side. Oh, he's bloody fob and this and that. So I'd just fight both sides.
That's why he's such a good fighter, bro.
Just fighting everyone. So and that was like myself. I went through a time. As growing up through my teenage years, I was like, "Fuck, what am I?"
Yeah.
Am I this or am I that?
Yeah.
And then I just come to a point. I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm Aboriginal. I'm both.
Yeah.
And that's why I represent both my cultures proudly.
Is that why you reckon the Half-Caste podcast is so important to you, and it kind of you enjoy it so much because it's kind of a representation of that kind of struggle and then finding what you really are?
For myself, I represent pretty strongly. The Half-Caste podcast, I think, is just a really good name.
Yeah,
My brother-in-law come up with it, and he's the brains behind the whole thing. So I just run it. I thought it was. I actually saw a comment of some hater on like Instagram or something like that. It's like, I can't believe you use this name. It's like I'm like, fuck, shut up.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah.
I'm a Half-Caste.
I had to live it. Yeah,
like
I fucking lived it.
Yeah, but that's social media these
Yeah,
days,
no.
everyone's got a say, you know
Yep.
what I mean? So,
I tell you what, put their name and face in every picture and see how much they say then.
oh yeah, they just.
Don't
I,
say
don't-
nothing.
I love it. I flick through all the comments. I love it. Yeah, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, 100%. I get a lot of that. What I do is, this is when someone leaves a real negative comment that isn't constructive. Like if it's a negative comment that's constructive, like, look, you've got this wrong and I reckon you should do this, but I like that because I can talk to it and they might be right and I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But ones that are just straight up hate, I just write bloke and a bar beer out now. Thanks for sharing to your friends. Because you know when Facebook you comment, it shares to your friends.
Oh, see, I'm not even that. See, I'm not even with the. I go at him. So
Meet me around the corner at 10 p.m.
No, I just go at it like.
Yeah.
Even like when we're in the car, I'll just start laughing. My
Yeah.
missus be like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm just fighting with this guy."
This random dude on Instagram.
I love it because at the end of the day, I know none of them are gonna
do
say
nothing.
anything, and you know, I'm here if someone wants to, if someone
I'm in
wants to
the
say it
UFC.
to me. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Okay. So you chose, you loved boxing or fighting, but you chose rugby league. Do you think that was more because of that was like the pathway that most people thought you should go?
oh, it's just that's what everyone plays, isn't it? You know what I mean? Especially the Western Sydney comp, I think is the best comp in all of Australia, as in talent wise.
Yep.
And there was just, you know, you go to school, everyone plays footy, and
Yep.
and don't get me wrong, I love the game of rugby league. Well, the old game.
Yeah.
I watch it now and I'm like, I
really
don't
the
think I
same.
can. Like, you can't even get up and slap someone. Like,
Yep.
how do you have you know, grown men on the field playing a contact sport, and
Yep.
then you just like you can't even like.
Well, and also the little guy can get up and niggle the big guy.
Yeah,
And there's nothing you can do about it.
I think it's shit.
Well, I just think it's like it's not that you're trying to promote fighting.
Yeah,
It's not about that.
no, not at all. Like you're not going to just go out there and just
start
start
fighting.
bluing. You know,
Yeah.
idiots like that they get weeded out quickly.
Yeah.
But you can't just like someone. You know, it's footy.
Yeah.
You're throwing your body at someone.
Yeah.
Someone down the line is going to get
Yeah.
you know pissed
The passion
off.
is gonna go over
and,
the
and
line.
like the days of State of Origin.
Yeah, it's not
Like
the same.
that's if I was to ever play State of Origin, that was my dream, was to have a punch on in the State of Origin.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and then that just pumps up the whole team. Now they don't even get pumped up. Like I watch it and they're just like,
Well, it's funny you say that because I have this argument that now footy isn't as exciting because
It's not.
everyone knows
No.
that it gets to this level and it's not going any further. Whereas back in the old day, the level is infinite.
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
how crazy it's going to
No,
get.
for
You
sure.
don't know how much passion is going to go on the field.
like
Whereas,
even yourself, you played like you know what I mean? And like if one of the boys had a punch up, like
it's GG's
you
everyone
want
up.
to play hard.
Well, I was a winger, so I just would be like, get off him, get off him, stop punching him.
you run in and just do the old stop.
No, the guy, like the around the back, you know those ones?
Yeah.
Get behind the guy. Stop hurting him. I was about to run in, but I got pulled back.
Yeah.
The goal, hold me back, hold me
It's
back.
too far away. It's too far away.
No, bro, I totally agree. And again, it's not about promoting a fight. It's about
No.
this is a contact sport, and you would be the first. Actually, I've had this argument as well, and I could be completely wrong because I've never been in a full, I've sparred in that, but not a legitimate MMA fight. But I would argue that you do more damage in rugby league to yourself than
for
fighting,
sure,
because
for
fighting
sure.
when you get dropped, it's over usually.
Yeah.
Whereas footy, you're constantly boom, 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 and yet I think
Yeah, heaps of people get injured in footy more than
MMA and that,
fighting.
especially more
Like
than boxing at
the
least.
fighting, or training and stuff. You wear protective gear, like
Yeah.
headgear. You can wear shin guards and stuff like that. And footy, they're people getting injured all the time.
Yeah, and it's also fighting maximum 4 to 5 times a year, and that's a lot of fights. Probably 3 is what you'd be ideally going for.
That's huge. Just make sure you give your text.
So you decided to go to the Roosters because everyone was doing it, and then what happened at the Roosters? Why did you decide to leave the Roosters and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I played Harold Mats out in Penrith.
Yep.
And I don't think they know how to look after their juniors.
Yep.
And then I got picked up by the Roosters, and I was pretty good at footy. I still reckon I could play it.
Yep.
But I just got to a point. I was training with first grade and stuff like that, and then you get to a point, you know what I mean, where you just I was realizing that this is a job You know what I mean? Back when you play footy with all the boys from the area, you know, it's like it's a passion. Like you want to go out there with your best mates. You haven't just hung out with these guys all week. You know what I mean? And then you play, like, and then when I realised that you have to wake up and it's like a job.
Yeah.
And then you have to talk to people how they want you to talk to people and they want you to be. Then you go on to camps and they're teaching you how to talk.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I just didn't have the passion.
Yeah.
And I was just losing it. Plus I was, you know, gambling and doing all stupid shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was living away from home, which was another big thing. I was living in Maroubra.
Yep.
And I was just like, I need to head back home, and I need to be around my family and stuff like that. But obviously, I didn't just give it up, not thinking. You know, I also had another passion of fighting. I was also fighting at this time as well, in the off season. So I didn't just give it up, thinking, you know, I'm just going to be a nothing or be a nobody. You know, I always had the dream of becoming a fighter as well. But then I've grown up seeing people do stuff that they don't want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer of don't do it if you don't want to do it. There's a lot of things out there to do. And
100%.
yeah, I just gave it up.
And so do you think it was the fact that, you know, and this is, some coaches are like this, some are like Wayne Bennett's really good at going, everyone's different, so you can act the way you act as long as it's good for the team, and you act. Do you think it was whoever the coach was, and we're not trying to bug the coach, but do you think it was because of the kind of military style fit in this way for the team?
It wasn't really anybody's telling me how to kind of be. It was just me. I can see it.
Yeah.
And I can see it in footy players now. Like, you get a footy guy in front of a camera, they all talk the same. And it's
because they have to. That, you know,
they have to. You know what I mean? And then, like, they can't even go out to the pub and you know. Yeah. Like, everybody's just it's just, you know. At the end of the day, my sport I do now, I get locked in a cage and I have to punch a bloke's head in. Yeah. There's not much. Yeah. You can't get any more, you know what I mean? It's like any more primal kind of thing. Yeah. So, like, for someone to tell me how to drink a beer at the pub. Yeah. It's so true. Sit on it. You know what I mean? Like, I see what you mean. And also, like, not that you would go out of your way to be controversial, but as a UFC fighter, if you are controversial, it kind of helps. Like, it helps your brand. It helps the popularity of your thing. I mean, you look at Conor McGregor. It was just something that I... And I never had, like, you know, I didn't have a manager, or I didn't have, and I wasn't really good at, you know, I never sucked up to dinner. That just wasn't me, you know what I mean? And I suppose, as you know, a lot of people in footy, you know, it depends who. Yeah, well, I reckon anyway. You know? Sometimes I think there are some people in some squads that are there because they've got a manager that blah blah blah. Yeah. You know, that did this deal and said that if you have this superstar, you've got to also have you know, all that kind of stuff. But so you left and then you went to UFC. You went to MMA, and was it like, this is home? Fuck, I love this. I had a couple years, you know, I ran amok and did what, you know, I gave it up at 19. Yep. So I still had a whole year of 20s left. Yep. So you know, there was a year there. I was just moved back home. All the boys, you know, we're just doing whatever. So you know, I lived my life, and then obviously it wasn't until, you know, a couple of years ago where I found out I was having a kid. Yep. And by this time I already was fighting, so I already had. But by these fights, I wasn't taking it serious. I was just training and then just relying on talent, you know what I mean? And just relying on just having to go. Yep. And then, you know, I've eventually got my ass handed to me, you know, and then thought... In boxing? No, it was in the Combat 8. It was against Peter Graham, which is... He's one of, you know, Australia's best fighters, you know, just to come out of Australia. And I was just young. You know, and they were like, "Oh, you know, you're knocking out everyone. You want to fight Peter Graham?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the man. I'll sweet. Yeah. Come on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll fight him." And that fight, you know, I didn't come prepared, and I got my ass handed to me. So, and that was probably the most embarrassing day of you know, of my life, and I'll never let that happen again. And so, and it did coincide with having your child as well, so it all kind of come together as motivation? The time when I found out I was having a kid, I was like, this is it, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to be how I grew up and struggling and doing all this, I got an opportunity that I can make it, and I can make something big out of it. And that was just my kick in the guts, and it was just like,
let's do it.
Kicking the ass, yeah. Just,
And so,
let's get it on.
What was it the night? Because people, they see footy players or fighters, especially fighters, because like, you're getting knocked out by another man, or beaten, or TKO'd, or submitted, or whatever. What was the night of like when you'd lost that fight? What was that feeling like of like just full depression of like, not depression, but sadness?
I think what hurt me the most is I beat myself.
Yeah.
He beat me, of course he beat me, but I was like 150. I was like
just taking a piss.
Unfit as I dropped him. I dropped him in the first round bad, and
then you just gassed.
If he hadn't had 300 fights,
Dunskies,
it would have been finished. But that's the difference in this sport. It keeps you honest, and that's how I learned. I had to take a hiding to learn. Like, hey, you're not the man. You got to train as well. Your fat ass is gonna get, you're gonna get fed. So, and that was a point for me. And after that, I was like, fuck it. I didn't beat. He didn't beat me. Yeah. Of course he beat me, but I beat myself because I couldn't breathe. I was having a heart attack. Like. Obesity.
That's fucking funny, bro. Okay, so that coincides with your kid. Your kid comes into this world. Is it a boy or a girl?
Boy. Yeah.
You see your kid for the first time. Was that like, man, I've got all the motivation I need to just take this and run with it?
Well, by that time, I already signed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, by the time he was born, I already signed with the UFC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew, we found out like right away, and within the 9 months, I already cracked down, lost all my weight, and had the 2 fights that I needed to have to sign the UFC contract. Yeah. So by the time he was born, I was signed.
Fuck. What's the phone call like when you get signed? Well, like, what's that phone call like for you?
It was more of a, it was put there. I had to win these fights.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then after winning these fights, you'll get the contract. Yeah. So it was like that. So it was more, the carrot at the end.
So it'd be more like the training towards it and everything that.
Yeah. But by that time, I was set. Yeah. In my head, I already had it. And but then when I signed, I had a bad knee injury, so which caused me to sit out for a year. So
what was that like?
Oh, yeah.
Rough.
Oh yeah.
Because like you're a big boy, so it's another thing you got to watch is your weight and everything.
Yeah.
Like that.
I shot back up to 150 nearly. So I shot back up. So, but that's. I'm a big boy. I'm a natural heavyweight. So it doesn't take long for me to shoot back up, so I got to keep it.
keep control of it. All right, walk us. You're going into the UFC. You've been signed. You've done your camp. You're having your debut fight. What's the emotions like? We're about to walk out and everything like that. Yeah.
As soon as I walk out, I'm sweet. Yeah. Like.
So before that, you're like, oh, I'm a bit nervous here. Fucking a bit jittery.
I get nervous more at training.
Oh really?
Yeah, I get that's the struggle for me. Yeah. I wouldn't say struggle anymore. I kind of changed my attitude and I embrace training more now. Yeah. But I think Islanders and Aboriginals in ourselves, we're blessed with massive talent.
100%.
And that's that from football yourself. You would play with guys who don't have to rock up the training. Come game day,
and kill it.
They're just doing stuff, and then the people who are training hard are sitting there thinking,
"Fuck, how are they doing this?
How's he doing this? I'm training every day, and but that's the difference. When you get to a point, you can't just rely on raw talent. You got to work hard, and I think that's where it comes in for me is the training, the fight. Is my end. It's my end thing. Yeah. So the lights and the crowd and all that thrives. I thrive off it. Yeah.
Training. You're sitting in your locker room. UFC to which one was it? UFC that your debut was or whatever it was.
Yeah. I'm useless. I forget. Or like people ask me my record. I'm like, I don't know. I gotta check my phone. Like some people. I think I love the fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just love getting in the cage and that it's another bloke against me, and at the end of it, the best man wins. You know what I mean? That's what I love about it. I don't really take too much of the records and all this. And even today, I think that's a lot of fighters that they're scared to lose. Like they're scared to get that one on their record.
I think boxing has done a real damage in that situation, in that circumstance. Boxing has had this whole, like, you need a clean record and all this kind of stuff, whereas like MMA, you can lose in so many ways. It's just
it's changed.
Yeah.
Like, even from when I just first started, you know what I mean? It's just like 8 years ago. It's changed. Like, I used to get a call and say, "Oh, you want to fight tomorrow?" Yeah, sweet. Now, people are like, "Oh, who am I fighting? What's his record? How many fights?" You know, some blokes are having like one amateur fight, and then they're making fan pages and stuff like this. Like,
it's crazy.
Come on, bro, just fight first. You know what I mean?
100%, man. As a fan watching, like, that's what was so great about the UFC in the beginning, was that the UFC made them best fight the best.
Yeah.
That's what it exploded in popularity. And the issue with boxing is, and they've started to realize they can't do this anymore with Triple G Canelo, is you can't cherry pick for too long, because fans don't want to see that shit anymore. They want to see the best for the best. And if you know, there's one guy with a clean record, it's Floyd Mayweather, and that's it. Like, no one else is ever going to do that again.
No, that's for sure. It'll be hard to beat.
I wish I could separate this bad stuff he's done to the boxer in the ring. Man.
With good, there comes bad.
It's always
there comes good.
Okay, so you're walking out. What's the feeling like when you're walking out? You're in UFC kit. You've done it.
I think I'm blessed to have my first 2 fights on home soil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially my first one was in Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, this is my city. Once I walked out, heard my music and heard my peoples, you know, I'm sweet. I feel at home.
Yep. It's and in Sydney too. Fuck, dream debut. Yeah. It's not over in fucking Lithuania or some shit.
No. Sydney was a dream, and my new dream, you know, is one day headliner show in Sydney, you know. So.
And you get in the ring, cage closes. What's it feeling like? You know, you're feeling the guy out, because it was like a few minutes knockout, correct?
Yeah. So there's still 30 seconds left. It was all right, because the guy was, you know, he's well, I don't know. It's just get in there.
It was a body kick, eh? Was it a body, like, gassed him? Like, as in you kick, body kick or something, and then not gassed him, but like gutted him a bit, and then you flying knee, was it?
Oh no, leg kicked him.
And
he fell over.
Yeah. And then you flying knee.
Yeah.
So walk us through that whole process. Was that part of the camp that you were going to do a lot of leg kicks, or?
I just heard my corner say kick him.
Yeah.
So I kicked him.
So you're fully in the zone when everything's happening. You're not just like going on pure adrenaline kind of thing.
Oh no, you got to be. You learn that after a few fights. You know what I mean? If you go in there, you'd rather go slow than look gassed and look ugly.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon anyway.
Yeah.
But I knew it was going to come. I just didn't know when. I just didn't know how.
Yep.
You just know it's going to come.
And so leg kick, flying knee. Have you ever done a flying knee before in practice?
No.
Was your coach just like, what the
Yeah.
What are you doing?
No, I always get that.
Yeah.
Oh, even at footy, I used to do tube and chases all the time.
Oh, really?
And score. Yeah.
So you used to just going for big plays.
Like I said, you know, you either go for it and you look like a hero, and if you fail, you eat shit.
Yeah. So, and you're prepared to eat the shit if you have to.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Too many people are scared to, you know, just scared to have a crack. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm having a crack while I can.
Okay, and now this is just an assumption, but I would assume a guy like Mark Hunt would have been someone that you've looked to for years. Is he a huge inspiration to your career, or?
Yeah, for sure. He's you know, a mentor, brother now. You know, and I've been under Mark's wing for about, you know, nearly 4 or 5 years. So just to have Mark Hunt, like just to have him around and learning from him, it's been massive for me. And
because like we don't, I don't think we truly appreciate what he's achieved. I just don't think this country does. Like, don't get me wrong, he's loved by UFC fans, like loved, and I fucking think he's unbelievable. But
well, that's the thing, you know, you don't realize until you see. Bro, we'll be out and some Japanese people will be at like the airport or something, and they just start screaming, like, and you're like, "Fuck, is he
is it jab or is it
are these people jinging up,
Yep.
or like they'll faint? You know what I mean?
Fucking
Like
hell.
it's for real, like, and then you realize, you know, geez, like, it's just how far behind we are with fighting and just in general, you know, and. We've got a good bunch of people in the sport now, and we're coming up, and it's up to us to make that change. And
actually, I've got a good question for you. If tomorrow the UFC called you, and Mark Hunt was good with it, would you ever step in the same ring as the guy? No way.
I wouldn't fight Mark.
No,
you wouldn't. No, just out of respect.
Yeah,
and we're brothers, you know. I mean, He's I wouldn't.
Yeah, just.
Oh, if they give us, you know, a few mil each.
Yeah.
Then of course we'll both do it. You know, that's but not for.
What about the first time?
Not
you
for
trained
pride
with him?
or not. For, first time I trained.
What was the first time like? Were you like, I'm fucking sparring here?
I was 17.
Really? 17.
I was I was 18, just fresh 18.
This would have been K1, Mark. Oh no, it was
UFC.
UFC.
Yeah. I was. And like, you know, they would have had heaps of sparring partners come in and out, you know, for Mark. And then Steve Oliver, you know, one of his main trainers, I stayed with him at his house, and they just said 5:30 be up. We got training at 6, and then they just put me in the cage. They said we'll go for it, and then we went at it, and then they were impressed and I haven't left. Yeah.
Oh, really? So that was how you got into the camp. You got into.
Yeah. Well, my trainer, Tomo Tahuna, he come and said, "Oh, do you want to go to New Zealand and train with Mark?" And I was like, "Fuck, you're janging up, aren't you?"
Fuck, I'll paddle there.
And then so then it just. Yeah, and like I said,
that's crazy.
It's all
so do you remember that time stepping in the cage and you're like, that's fucking...
Oh, well, I was like, fuck, this is it. If you this is it. If you make it out of this, then you might have a good crack at doing this, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that's how I was thinking. I was like, oh, if you do this and if you come out, you might have a good crack at doing this for a living, you know? And since then to now, I've learnt heaps and you know, soaked up heaps of information about fighting and stuff like that. So,
what's the best thing you think he's taught you as a mentor?
We just us.
Yeah.
We ain't changing. You know what I mean? And
be proud of like your heritage.
Yeah,
and you
not just that. Just he's always taught me about people. Because he's been robbed a few times and stuff like that, you know, and you're gonna meet people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, bro, we just you know, Islanders, we're just boys, and we just become close like that. We don't really we don't like necessarily sit down and he like tries to give us life lessons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we just do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
then
we
you
just
watch
live,
and
I watch and I see what happens, and I see, you know, and
yeah,
I just learn like that, yeah.
And you know, you've got your fight come up in Perth. You're fighting a guy that's got about 4 fights, you said, from France.
Yeah, in the UFC.
In the UFC. Yeah. So this guy's extremely experienced, and if you win this fight, it'll really cement you as a serious, you know, heavyweight that can move on to, you know, through the ranks and that. You know, what's in your mind? What plays out in the fight? You know, what's gonna, I guess, what do you think of your opponent? Has there been any banter or anything like that, or pretty?
I'm not. I don't really. Unless, you know, someone starts with me, I'll of course I'll love it. I'll have a crack, but no, just another guy on in the road. You know, he's in my way and I'm in his way, I suppose. So he's gonna come and do his job, and I'm gonna come and do mine. And
in 12 months. We're in a perfect 12 months. Everything goes perfectly. Where are you sitting? What are you doing? What are you about to do this day in 12 months' time?
12 months I'll be in the top 15. Knocking on top 10 door.
Yeah, nice.
Sure.
What did you think of Stipe and Ngannou?
Yeah, I thought it was going to go like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the Stipe had... Ngannou had to put him out in the first 2. Or
No chance.
It was just going to
Yeah.
go like that, you know.
I think-
Miocic is a grinder, and
100%.
he just grinds.
And his boxing is underrated, and you could tell
Yeah.
that when he was slipping those punches. You're like, he's a heavyweight. You're like, people didn't realize it.
Yeah.
His actual boxing is better than Ngannou's. Ngannou's athletic gifts are out of this fucking world.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it was a good fight.
yeah, fucking.
Bit boring towards the end,
Yeah,
but
it was boring.
It was good.
But if you're Stipe, you're like, I get it, bro. I get it.
You're not going to see him in front of that.
Oh, wow, he's huge. Okay, I ask all the boys this. Favorite rapper of all time?
Favorite rapper? Probably Pac.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fucking one of the goats, 100%. Especially the message that still permeates throughout today's society.
I listen to olds. I don't really listen to much news.
Yeah, the new stuff's a bit trash.
I listen to like slow music.
Oh, R&B and that.
Yeah. I listen to
I used to have this group called Damage. Do you remember Damage?
Damage.
They were like fully underground R&B. I loved R&B. I used to love R&B quite a lot. Favorite movie of all time?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, really? First time. Okay, Angelina Jolie, prime time. Angelina
that's
Jolie.
my movie.
Oh,
Stealing cars. When I was a kid, man, I used to, that was the whole thing. Yeah.
What was your craziest thing you ever did as a kid?
No comment.
No comment. Don't be snitching on yourself. Don't be snitching on yourself. All right, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, and good luck in Perth. And I'm sure we'll do this again. And good luck with Half-Caste podcast as well. It's I love it. I think it's a fantastic idea.
You're an inspiration.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers, bro.
Oh, that's forward pass, Mr. Cummins, you dickhead. Well, I can't speak. Forward a mile. He's let it go. That one, Stevie Wonder is in now, 5 yards forward. Well, I can't speak.